3 edition of the Commissioner's Corner. I'm your host, James L. Seagraves, flying solo once again because Richard now has the Mega Plague that so many other people had. I still have it, as you can probably tell. We're still trying to learn how to use this whole new X-split broadcaster or whatever because YouTube, Google Hangouts went weird on us, so just bear with us. I've tried to make some cool things here, as you can see on the side. You got the James Seagraves. You got Commissioner's Corner. It's cheap stuff I made in about 3 minutes. My head's somewhat chopped off because I still can't get the angle right on this damn TV monitor, whatever it is. So anyway, you're going to be hearing a lot of throat clearing, a lot of sniffling, unfortunately, because the Mega Plague hit us all. Richard is completely out of commission. Can't even get out of bed, basically, although I think he has been going to work, which doesn't really add up, but still. So week 3 is come and gone. Hell of a lot of close calls. Some people, such as Bill Poley and Dynamite, was number 3 in the nation. They just chose not to submit a lineup, and they got randomized. So we'll go over that list of randomizer people here in a little bit. No fancy music today because we're just going to go the old school way of, kind of like a hybrid between, Google Plus and then, just regular podcasts. So let's start with the randomizers here, okay? Now, Chris Weimer, who has been randomized all 3 weeks, we took his team from him. We said there was an exception for last week because of the fact that none of us were actually at the computer to allow people to, to warn them, yo, you're going to get randomized, you got to do this. So, but Chris Weimer sucked. I don't know if he paid or not, but if he did, too bad, because you don't pay for something and just not put an effort in. That's stupid. I'll have to check into that. So, real quick, just to go over who has been randomized officially now. So, there were 5 teams that were randomized this week for the first time. 8 Miles from 8 Mile, which is David Magden. So, I think that's Danny Lane's referral. Manziel's Visors, which is one of the Spink boys. Look out. We don't want to see you get randomized again. Caitlyn Jenner's Mangina, although it says Mangine here on the Facebook page. You can see that's what I'm looking at right here. Tyler Aldridge, very disappointed in you, my friend. Bill Poley and Dynamite, also known as Louis Diana, his first offense. There he is right there. And where are we going without ever knowing the way? John Way, first offense. Now, what that means is you guys get a warning. You guys were randomized this week. But if it happens again, we will take your team, no questions asked, and we will give it to someone else, such as Corey Brewer. His dad took over Chris Weimer's team. Aaron King wants another team. Abel Frausto. There are owners who are good, who do submit lineups that will take your team. There's David Magnan right there popping up. Public enemy number 2, because Chris Weimer was public enemy number 1. So, David Magnan, get your lineup in, bud. All right, so that's the randomizer. If you get randomized the first time, not a huge deal. You just get randomized, and we mock you on the podcast. You get randomized the second time, you lose your team. Whether or not you paid, we don't care, because we're trying to make sure to uphold the integrity of this league. So, it is what it is. Don't get randomized. You don't have to worry about losing your team. All right, so we're going to go over the top 10 real quick. If I can find it, you can see, I don't know if you can see all these windows we have open. Good Lord. Yeah, a lot of them. So, here we go. I got this jumbo screen here. Number 10 team, now first of all, there are 10 teams that are 3-0. All 10 of them make the top 10. That's fitting. Number 11 team is 2-1, and everything below them is at least 2-1. Jackson Cornholers, number 10. They so far have scored a whopping 237 points. They're 3-0. Better Bring Your A game. That is Rob Jazerski's team, 244 points. Runs Like a Girl, 245 points. And then Providence Power, my team, also 245 points, but I get ranked lower for whatever reason. That was not my choice. Tenacious D, number 6 in the nation, they've scored 249 points. A team has no name, number 5, they scored 254 points. Somerset Slammers, Craig Dobbs, back in this thing, 3-0 so far this year. They've scored 260 points. The New Orleans Rock Chucks, the aforementioned Aaron King, number 3 in the nation now, scored 260 points as well. Number 2, last week's number 1 was Wally. He's fallen to number 261 points. And then number 1, Chad Fowler's Flatliners, ... Flatliners, ... We just like to call them the Flatliners for simplicity's sake. They have scored 264 points to make them the number 1 team in the nation because they are, in fact, undefeated. Now, for those of you who are new and don't understand how this ranking system works, this takes record first and then points. So if you go over to the home page. First of all, I haven't updated the article in a while, so don't pay attention to this. I'm going to update it today. You scroll down a little bit further, and it shows a completely different system here. It shows, what the hell is up with this? It shows what looks like, why are there no scroll bars here? Who knows? I don't know why there's no scoreboard. We're going to zoom out here. What just happened? Yeah, I still don't know what's happening here. It shows that my Crabtree itches number 1. And why is that? Because, I'm not sure if you can see this or not, but they've scored 267.74 points, which is number 1 in the nation in terms of points, even though they're ranked number 11. Same with Tallywhackers. They've scored 261.72. Gregory Clay Gain, 261.08. So you have scored more points, but you have lost. That is why you are ranked on this page higher than the other people. At the end of the day, though, the record counts more than the points, although points do matter at the end of the year, believe me. So that's going on. So congratulations to Mike Crabtree Itches, who is Brian Lydell's team. Tallywhackers, Josh Crampton, Gregory Chlorgain, that's Team Derek Gregory. Nasty Nutria, number 14, we'll talk about them in a little bit. They are up there. They're in like the top 10 in terms of points scored. At the end of the year, for those of you who do not know, in case you were watching these for the first time, end of the year, obviously the best records get in the playoffs, but then also teams with the most points. So it is very important to score a lot of points every week because you can get in the playoffs just based on points. Even if you never won a game, if you score more points than everybody else, which is obviously impossible, but if it happened, you would get in the playoffs, which is really cool. So, just going to go over the standings real quick. I apologize for the constant phlegm and snot that's in my body, but hey, at least I'm here. I'm going to wipe this down with sanitizing wipes afterwards. Nobody else uses this mic, so I doubt it. Anyway, so we go to the Ron Burgundy Conference. They have one team that is 3-0. That is Tenacious D, number 6 in the nation. But they also have a slew of 2-1s. My Crabtree Itches, the aforementioned them. They are the number 1 scoring team in the nation. So this division, despite having 3 teams in the top 20, only has 1 undefeated team, which is more than the Frank Drebin Conference can attest because they have 0 undefeated teams. The Brutal Broncos, hilariously enough, are number 1 based on tiebreakers and all that jazz, even though they're not even ranked. Irish Shamrocks, who is that? I forget whose name. Chris Amos, he's 2-1. Vito Honey Badgers, that's Tony Lay. Dublin Drunks, Tallahassee Thundercats, Squadrels, and Tallywhackers, all 2-1. FarmersOnly.com is 0-3. Way to suck. Then we have the Clark Griswold Conference. They have 1 3-0 team. The Jackson Cornholers. Michael Shane Dean. Way to go, Danny Lane. At least you can refer some people that submit their lineups. Whammy. Number 10 in the nation, 3-0. The only ranked team in this entire conference are the Jackson Cornholers, number 10. They have a few 2-1 teams, but a whole bunch of 1 and 2 teams. So that division is going to be tight, it looks like. No 0 and 3 teams. Derek Zoolander Conference, if you can see this. I don't know if you can see this on this page or not. You might be able to. They have the Flatliners, number 1. They have the number 19 and number 13 team in the nation also. They're all 2-1. But then they also have no 0 and 3 teams. Going down the Jeff Spicoli Conference, the team has no name, and Providence Power, both undefeated. The only conference, I believe, nope. The first conference so far that has 2 3-0 teams in their conference. But then Nasty Nutria, well, more on them in a little bit. They are 14, and then you can't spell rape without sharpers. They have 4 top teams in the top 20 teams, and only 1 0 and 3 team, and that is Sioux Girls 1 Cup 0-3. Tony Cromwell. Got a feeling he won't be going back to the big dance when you start off 0-3, but it is the muscle. Anything can happen. Finally, going down to the Jeff Lebowski Conference, we have number 2 Wally. They're 3-0. Way to go. The only undefeated team in that conference left. Saucy Dog runs like a girly. Old Papa's Players. Monica Loves Clinton Dix. Kazoo Crazies. T-Tokes. They're all 2-1. But only one of those teams is ranked, which would be Monica Loves Clinton Dix, number 15 in the nation. Jerry's Kids and True Blue Wrecking Crew. Roger Brewer. Way to go, Roger Brewer. You just got this invite last night, and you've already taken over the team. I will not call you out because you're 0-3 because you took over Chris Weimer's team. So let's see if you can rally and take over this team and take it to the promised land. Now, how that works is I'll tell you how that works later in private. Don't worry about it. Brody Bruce Conference, we have the number 4 and number 9. So you got 2 teams in the top 10 here, both 3-0. Nantab Knights, Ashley Manning's HGH supplier. Brady O'Bush, last year's defending champion, back on the swing of things. They're all 2-1. And then you have Yeti Express, Bob Ames. 0-3 so far this year. What's going on, Bobby? Hey there, little Bobby. Your team's 0-3. So, yeah, not great. And then you got a couple other all-stars here. The Red Wings, and you got Getting Schneider, Colorado Mountain Oysters. They're 1-2. Texas Taco Benders, Rich Perez's teams. He's not here because he's 1-2. He's shamed. Shame. Anyway, so Kirk Lazarus Conference, last conference, talking about New Orleans Rock Chucks and runs like a girly. 3-8. Well, number 3 and number 8. They're both 3-0. Way to lead that. 2 teams in the top 10. That Collector Kings, Danny Lane, 2-1, 8 miles from 8 Mile. They were randomized. No, that's David Magnus' team. They were randomized this week, and they still won. So that's why we do the randomizer, because, you never know what's going to happen. USS Enterprise fighting red shirts. I don't even know who that is. It's probably Jeff Arbogast's second team, I'm guessing. Now You See Me, Now You Don't. Ryan Frazier back to that team name. Tried to change it up because 52 is the mic. Obviously was not working for you last year. Brady's Balls, Dark Light, the Wolfpack, Pip Squeaks, Will Fork on first day, all 1 and 2. And DeWyans, Gary King, DeWyans, 0-3. Very disappointing, Gary King, but I have a feeling you can rebound. So, just a quick conference by conference breakdown. You know who's doing what in your conference. If you're Silver Bullet Express, which is who again? Brian David. Ooh. FarmersOnly.com. Sioux Girls 1 Cup. Jerry's Kids, True Blue Wrecking Crew, which I'll give them a pass. Yeti Express, Bob Ames, and DeWyans. Some quality owners. Bob Ames, Gary King, Tony Cromwell. All 0-3. Craziness has ensued in the first 3 weeks of MUSL. But it is only the first 3 weeks. There are still several weeks to go. So let's look at next week's schedule. I did this because I felt that we put a half-ass effort in because I was super sick, and Richard was kind of sick. Obviously, now he's super sick, and I'm kind of sick because I'm getting on the opposite end of it, as you can tell. So I did like a Sunday preview of games to watch for, because we didn't do it during the regular podcast, so I'm going to do it this time during the regular podcast. And just so you know, let's take a look at what we got going on here. We got Forte Shades of Grey versus Killer Miller. Meh. No big deal, but it's Sam Miller and Melissa Garrity, I believe. Is that your last name? I think it is. Then we have, let's see, anything else going on here? Not really, nothing really good there. Squadrels versus Irish Shamrocks. Squadrels are 2-1, I think. Irish Shamrocks, number 16 in the nation. We have the Dublin Drunks taking on FarmersOnly.com, a.k.a. 0-3 Matt Farmer. You are useless. And then we're going to get to the good games here. Do we have any good games this week? Not really. Okay, this is ridiculous. Okay, Providence Power versus Nasty Nutria. There we go. 2 ranked teams, number 7 versus number 14. That is my own personal Providence Power. Taking on Sarah Krasansky. Don't try to spell it. Number 7 versus number 14. That is a huge game, obviously. Scrolling down, you have number 20 taking on number 5. You can't spell rape without sharper. That is the good farmer, Tom Farmer. He brings the crops like no one else. Taking on a team who has no name, which is Brandon Koski, the aforementioned Sarah. I've said aforementioned like 5 times this podcast. Sarah Krasansky's referral. Way to go, by the way, Krasansky. Bringing in some winners. Brandon Koski, 5-0, or 3-0, number 5 in the nation. Amazing job to you. Worth noting, we have KZU Crazies taking on the Apache Chiefs. They're both 2-1, I believe. Nope, Apache Chiefs 1-2. Sorry, but yeah, they're people I know, which is cool. I'll call them out. Someone just shut a door, and I heard it through my headphones, but I didn't hear it outside of the headphones. That was really bizarre. Number 2, Wally, taking on Monica Loves Clinton Dix, number 15. That's a huge game. Anytime 2 top 20 teams play, it's a big deal. Nantab Knights taking on Better Bring Your A Game. Nantab Knights might not be ranked, but this guy is legit. Not to mention, he is named Michael Myers, so he might just, kill everybody. I think that's Michael Myers' team. It is. All right, good deal. Yeti Express taking on the Yeses. Can Bob Ames get a win finally? That is the big question. Collector Kings taking on Will Fork on first day. Not ranked, either one of them, but they are both amazing owners. And then we have, well, that's about it for games to watch. So, who's El Domino de Leon's playing? Did I just see that? Did I just see that? No, I did not. I think that's cool. No, it's just a flat. Nobody cares, really. They're not ranked. So, yeah. So there are some games to watch for. There are only 3 matchups facing 2 top 20 teams, but they're big. I can tell you that much. Flatliners taking on Marty's Gamers. They're 1-2. Flatliners obviously 3-0, number 1 team in the nation. I don't know who's going to return like Brady after week 4. Who is that? Rocky Keeling. Nice team name. You're 1-2, so hopefully you're going to come back at some point, because 1-2 is not very good. But anyway, so yeah. So Thursday night's game is a total snooze fest. I wouldn't be surprised if nobody puts anyone in. I think it's like the Bengals and the Dolphins, maybe. Yawn. Yeah, so basically, I don't care if it's 1:03 and you try to submit your lineup. The system sets it up to where if it's 1 o'clock, if you're in the middle of submitting your lineup, it will not allow it to happen. No exceptions. I'm sorry. This is how it works. You know? So, because I think that's what Louis Diana had a problem with, and he's probably crying in a corner at Verizon, but it is what happens. It is the rule. So, here's an idea. Get your lineup in like Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night. And people are like, well, what if someone gets injured? Well, I'd rather one person get injured and waste them than not have a lineup in at all because you're dilly-dallying on Sunday morning. You know, you got church. Probably very few of us go to church. And us, I mean the MUSL. You might have church. You might have breakfast. You might have brunch. You might have a big get-together at your dad's house for the Lions. That was a debacle, by the way. That turns quickly into a poker game. But the point is, you got stuff going on Sunday morning. It's an afterthought. Get the lineup in Thursday night, Friday morning, Saturday morning. Even if you're worried about someone who he might not play. First of all, I wouldn't start someone who might not play. I would have a lineup in just in case you forget, or you get sidetracked, or you get stuck in traffic, or there's a huge comic convention in town that you're working at all weekend. Do something to have a safety net put in place. It's not that difficult. I mean, we all had our lineups in the weekend we got literally 2 hours of sleep. So if we can do it, you can do it. I'm pretty sure. All right, so I'm going to toy with this thing over the next week. Maybe next week we'll have a awesome setup for this thing. I am kind of liking the capabilities of it. I've never used it before, but I watched about 5 minutes worth of YouTube tutorials, and now I'm an expert, just like so many other people. So yeah, man. Hopefully we will have a good weekend and have not a lot of randomizers, because I hate spending my Sunday doing it, but it happens. That's why I'm the commissioner. And maybe next week we'll have Sexy Mexi, a.k.a. Rick Perez, back. I got the studio down at the Mega XP Zone all ready to rock and roll. Then he's like, oh, I feel like Jeff Warmnova. So he didn't come. But anyway, we'll talk to you later. Have a good week, everybody. I'm going to try to hit this. I think this stops it. We don't know. Take it easy.